to start with Pandorum from
All right.
2009. Ray, this is your pick, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Summary for this film: two crew members of a spaceship wake up from hypersleep to discover that all their colleagues are missing. Despite this, it appears that they are not alone. Directed by Christian Alvert, however you say that. Written by Travis Malloy and Christian Alvert, however you say that. But Ray, since you picked this out, why don't you go ahead and start things off?
Okay. I saw this movie originally in 2009. Went to the theater and saw it on a whim with some friends, and I remember I loved it. And then I got lost in the shuffle. Since we've all watched it now, it's one of those that's not very memorable because it's so much like a lot of other things, but it's a
Yes.
decent movie. It's a decent sci-fi horror film in my
I would
opinion.
say that the
Yeah.
ending, the general concept of it is unique in some
Yes,
ways,
Mhm.
but they are pulling from a lot of other things.
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll just get to the things I like about this because I rewatched it again, like we all, I hadn't seen it in years, so I'm like, let's watch it again. And I'm a big fan of Dennis Quaid and Ben Foster. Ben Foster especially, that guy, he
Right.
always is good. I mean,
What else
always.
was he in? Because I couldn't
Oh,
place him in anything.
Hell or High
He was in
Water. I'm
30
sorry, go ahead.
Days of Night. He was
30 Days of Night.
I considered him the Renfield,
Hmm.
Okay.
the human that brought them there, you know what I mean? So, and he was that dude. And what Alpha Dog? Is that
Alpha Dog, I think.
Okay.
dude?
Three
That guy
Tim to
can play
Yuma.
any.
Yeah,
Okay. So I've
he's
seen him and stuff. Yes.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
his list of acting is like, I
He
mean, it goes
started
all,
out on Disney.
And
yeah,
this was what, 2009? Is that when this is?
2009 it came out. Yep.
Okay. Dennis Quaid, I don't know how old he is in this. Looks great. He's in great
Oh
shape.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell who got the better set of genes out of him and his brother Randy.
Yeah, right. Randy's like, I was what was left.
Who's the Arnold and who was the
Yeah,
leftover crap?
yeah.
Yeah.
But so that kicks off my pros list on this is the acting. The acting is really good in this movie. I mean, even the side characters have their own little quirks and things that usually, you'll get these kind of movies where they're just a one-off. They're nothing. They're not memorable, But you've got the crazy guy that lives in the like little dome that's cooking all the crazy
Yeah, the
food.
cook guy,
Mhm.
yeah.
You got the ninja, basically
Mm.
the arbor ninja. Then you've got the lady that's collecting all the eggs, and keeping a watch on the spermosa, like. So I mean, every one of them had their own little niche side characters. Hell, you even got the Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead shows up for about 50 seconds,
Oh yeah.
Evidently,
and
Yeah, he did last
he
long.
wanted to be in this movie. Like he reached out to be in it because he worked with him on something else before.
oh,
Is
cool.
what I read. But
So that was one of the things I liked. The acting in this movie, it could have easily been a one note run and scream, but there was some good moments, some good character development in this. So I like that. Um, and a lot of nice, my stuff, Frank. With I love a crisp shot. I love it.
yeah,
I love it when it
that's what
looks it looks produced, man.
it does for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this thing had some fucking beautiful shots of the spaceship, of the creatures. Let's talk about the creature effects, man.
Mhm.
These things look fucking great.
And
I
like
mean, yeah,
problematic. Like generally when they put a ton of monsters in something, there's a ton of them in this.
uh-huh.
Generally they're able to like slice them up pretty easy, but these ones are fucking tough. Like
Yeah,
whenever the one moment where they're having a battle and they kill one of them finally, and then
yeah,
they look around and there's like a ton of them around them. It's like you just feel like, oh, they're fucked. Like there's
yeah,
no
right.
Mhm.
It took three of them to take one down, and then they look around and there's like, yeah, 25 standing there
Oh yeah.
watching them beat
Mhm.
the shit out.
It was like the descent in space. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
nuts.
oh yeah.
Yep. So I thought that was my other highlight. The monster makeup in this is just stellar. Um, I like some of the background music. Again, I like a good score, and this seemed to have moments where it shined through. So nothing to write home about, but good. I mean, decent. It had built the tone up. I mean, the beats where they're hiding, you can hear the music, you know, like it gets you going a little. I'd say some of the cons for me were it's a little dark. Like, I mean, I have a pretty decent
Oh,
TV
yeah.
setup, and sometimes I was like, "The fuck is going on?" You know,
Everything's lit up by a fucking one of them breakable light sticks.
yeah,
So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a cool effect, but you got to brighten your shit up sometimes. You know, I like that I could follow it down, but then roll it back and show me what's there. You know,
Right.
like, so the flashback scenes too were felt a little forced. Like there's some flashbacks in this that are just like off the wall, like, oh yeah, my wife isn't even here. Here's some shit about her, you know? Like
yeah. I think that was
that-
supposed to be like his memories flooding back and like,
Yeah.
yeah,
but it
just
was a
wasn't
bit
handled very
confusing
well.
at certain
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I just felt it was like it wasn't handled very well. It was like it just felt shoehorned in. Like somebody at the end was like, you know what, we probably should explain some of this. I felt like it could have been jumps. It could have been paced better, I guess. What it's just in weird spots for me, these flashbacks. And then my only one big complaint is the end. Like I want a sequel to this movie in the worst
Exactly.
way possible.
That like
I
like
really do.
It can totally happen. It could.
Yeah.
It just
I
didn't
think there's
do
a
well.
campaign to get. There's supposed to be 2 other movies come out, I believe. I read some weird shit. Like they're trying to petition to get some more stuff made. But
I mean, it
I-
totally could be those creatures bred.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
and
thousands of them
you know,
on that ship.
you
Yeah.
saw one of the kid ones that were fully those.
Right.
You know, there's, you know, I mean, come on. One of my complaints was that, you know, I mean, it was, you couldn't kill everybody on the ship, but I mean, that ship was way deep at the spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It was way deep in the ocean on that planet, right?
Right.
If a planet spins, there's pressure in the oceans. Okay. Like that's what's happening. So that everyone should have been crushed. That has nothing to do with current recent events.
I was gonna say, look
But I'm
at
just saying-
John up
No,
on
no,
his
no,
scuba
no, but
diving
This
stuff.
was in 08 or
he's
09,
right though.
whatever.
At
This
the
was way
end,
before.
whenever all those escape pods are going off, it's literally like
It's
like
like
a
in the
1,000 little
bottom
ocean
of the
gates
ocean. Like
going up.
someone
you're-
got the bends at least.
You're
But they
right.
didn't.
Yeah, they were thousands of feet down. They had to be because that ship was massive, you know?
Yeah,
Well, I
And,
don't.
yeah.
I mean, the dude would have. Let's be honest. Even the one we see there when they go up, the 2 that escape, he would have drowned before they even got it because it was quite a bit of time. He was holding his breath for a long fucking
I don't know.
time.
Leslie Nielsen can hold his breath for a long time. So I mean, like, I feel like he was trained. I mean, how long? Okay, realistically, how long are we thinking it took him to get up there? Up from that ship to the surface, like they got launched, so there was propulsion.
I would say,
realistic.
3 to 6 minutes.
All right.
I mean, they're being shot like out of a cannon, basically.
Like,
you know,
can't Marines hold their breaths like for a really long time?
I think the record is 6 or 7 minutes. If you were like,
I'm not gonna say he
practicing.
could do it for 6, but 3 at the if it was
Okay,
fast
yeah,
enough,
they would have had.
he-
He's going into space. They would have had him have the
exactly.
same.
He could hold his
Yeah.
breath for 3
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, so there's some stuff in there. You're right. That is definitely suspend disbelief kind of thing, you know. But you got to admit that shot at the end with it going up from the planet, showing how all the pods is pretty cool.
That was cool.
And I love the name of the planet, Tanis. Just cool, just a cool name, Tanis. Also, side note, you brought up the little kid. Whenever I meet somebody and they're like, "Here, this is my child," that's how I see their kid. I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you,
Dobby Golem."
Yeah, nice
totally
to meet you,
smooth.
bright ass. Anyways, I loved it. I thought it was great. I had a great time with this movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So,
when I started watching this, I was like, I have a problem with science fiction a little bit, right? Like it's not really my favorite genre. I was like, oh man, this is really science fiction-y just right out the gate. Like there's all these the dates and even the font and everything was like so science fiction-y. But I did end up really liking this a lot. But there's
Cool.
some stuff I'm gonna go back and forth here because I
Okay.
made a list of things I liked and things I didn't like. So things I thought were cool. The laser blade thing that the dude shaves with at the beginning, that we should have that. That should be a real
Yeah.
thing. Like that
Right?
was I was just like, that's cool. I love the creature design, like you said. They're really mean, ugly bitches, these things.
Mhm.
They almost remind me. There's a lot of things that reminded me of Halo in this movie. Like those creatures kind of did something you'd see in Halo. A lot of the environments they're fighting in seemed like they were on a Halo ship or something from that fucking
Uh-huh.
video game. I really like the general concept of the mission, like that they're going to like basically start a new planet, like, and the way they reveal it, like in piecemeal through the fucking storyline, like it's kind of moves slow, but also at the same time they give me enough to like, you know, more building on the story and stuff like that. So I like that.
Right.
I always like a motley crew of survivors. Now I don't like Motley Crue, the band, they suck ass, but these guys are pretty cool.
Fucking love
They
it.
all they're like, you know, like they're like they all got their own thing, like you said. Like the one dude's like a computer guy, and then
Mhm.
the one guy's like a warrior, and no one can
Yeah.
even understand him because he's like speaking Vietnamese the whole time. um I really like that cook guy. His name's Leland. He's played by a guy named Eddie Rouse. But a little bit of levity in a movie where I thought there was not going to be any, because when he says it's hard to cook because it's got to have an oil base. Everything's oil, and he's like, oh, it smells like, what do you say, dog, like seasoned dog shit or something like that. Like
Yeah.
I he was a psychopathic cannibal, but he had some
He's a
charm. He's a
survivor.
little
He's pretty cool. I
humorous.
liked his storytelling abilities.
Yeah, and when he gets stabbed in the eye, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love the scene where the dude has to sneak through the alien nest. Like that was totally Indiana Jones vibes to me.
So
Yeah.
good. So
Um,
good.
and the way that the Vietnamese guy dies, like he has this crazy battle and then almost dies there, and then sees the child alien and was gonna kill it, but then doesn't, and
Oh,
then
it's a
just gets
kid.
his yeah, gets
Yeah.
his throat slit right there. And the effects all
Yeah.
look pretty good. So
Mhm.
there was some CGI, like the spaceship.
Yeah.
But for
It
this
looked
time
very,
period,
yeah, I was
you
gonna say it
know,
looked very 2009, which was good at that time, but yeah, it
yeah.
definitely had
Um,
that.
now the things I didn't really like, obviously the future bullshit, the space stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not my thing. But they made me like this movie despite that. It's funny that you mentioned the soundtrack because I thought it was missing some major like KMFDM or like Crystal Methods during these fight
Right?
sequences,
Yeah, it could have been.
like
Yeah.
something like, you know. Also the fighting, it's a little too superhero-y for me. Like the main character should have died at least 3 times just from fall damage. Um,
Yeah.
and I also find it really hard to believe that a preservation scientist all of a sudden is a master of kung fu when she needs to be. Like this girl was like preserving plants and stuff. And I mean, maybe they trained him hard, real hard, but there's some like Mortal Kombat style battles in
Now, I
this.
have a thing. I have a little aside. I think, now I could be wrong. They do explain that there was, while they were asleep, stuff was being put in their blood
Mhm.
to
Okay.
to make them adapt to the environment they're about to enter. And
Yeah.
it was only supposed to be done for the duration of the trip, which was like 136 years. We find out at the end they've been asleep for 967 years. So
Mhm.
that could attribute to why they seem to have superhuman abilities, like not only the monsters who have adapted, but
Yeah.
themselves. Like they're
True.
now a little bit more beefed up from the shit the chemical they've been giving them. I don't
Okay.
know, but
I
that's what
must have
That's
I
I
must
mean,
have
that's
missed that.
plausible.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall, this movie
Good
won me
explanation.
over, which is big for a science fiction film to do that. Like, there's a handful that I love, and this one, despite notes of Alien and notes of other things that I saw,
Yeah.
it was really well written and had a nice twist at the end. And this story is deserving of one or two sequels, I think, especially now that I'm interested. At the end, they've opened up a whole world that we don't know nothing about. That we saw some of the life that was in the sea, and we know that those things are probably from this planet, the monsters. But like, you could really open up now that we're not in space and we're on a location. We could we could get into some business. Let's get a couple more
Yeah, like
movies.
they made it. They've been there the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what happens
Yeah.
now. It seemed like if they made a trilogy, this would be my least favorite of the trilogy. I always watch the other two,
Right.
but I gave it an 8 out of 10. It leaves you wanting more at the end of it, despite all the space.
Nice.
Right on. All right. So I saw this before, long time ago, like probably not long after it was out. Like when it was streaming, or like initially. Um, I don't know. I liked it because I'm a huge Dennis Quaid fan as well. Like Dreamscape, Jaws 3, like give me all that.
Yeah.
I'm gay for Quaid. I love him.
Inner space.
Dennis
Oh,
Quaid
Yeah.
he can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I found his whole back and forth with himself. I don't know, man. I found that whole thing kind of lame. It just didn't do it for me. Like, all right, we get it. You found out Earth is exploded or whatever, and now it's all hope is lost. Let's kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, he
You know,
basically
like,
played
all right, whatever. Maybe you know what? Maybe it was the guy playing his other self.
younger self. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was that. I don't know. But I found that a little lame. Ben Foster, that kid, he needs an Oscar. Like they just need to give him like a big budget chance.
Yeah,
And
dude.
he's so good.
He should be in a Star Wars movie or something. He's huge. I mean, he could be a huge actor.
He's a great character
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's awesome. Um like I like Norman Reedus coming in. That was fun. He didn't last long because he was still like kind of a bit player and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like the creatures. Like I said, it reminded me of the Descent in Space. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those performers were performers on the Descent. I love the look. I wish we could have got a better look at their armor. That all looked like just spiked. It probably was spiked pieces of metal from the ship, but it looked so uniform. It all looked the same.
I feel what was weird about when I saw that at the end. Like you can kind of see it better at the end.
Yeah,
and I was like, what? No, you're telling me that these motherfuckers developed armor, but they still nest up by snuggling up with each other like that? It's like a weird. I don't know. Like their technology didn't match their animalistic qualities. They still seem like beasts, but also at the same time they had like laser spears and shit. So it's like, all right.
Oh well, it's the future.
Yeah, I guess
they didn't make them. They didn't create them. They found them.
Yeah, it's like how everybody has a phone now, but we don't know how they're made. We are them.
The claustrophobic set of them crawling through all them
all the duct
all
work,
the lines and stuff. It made the ship seem alive, especially when who was the slimy dude that crawled through it. It looked like the ship gave birth to that guy.
Oh yeah, that was
maybe
like
it
Dennis
was
Quaid's
that
other self.
Yeah. Okay, it looked just like that. Like, and definitely hints of Alien, Event Horizon, and all that kind of stuff because Paul W.S. Anderson was a producer, so that totally makes sense. That I thought that first view of the ship, that whole shot reminded me of like some wraparound shot in Event Horizon. I can't remember what it was, where it was like go from the side to the front of the ship. And
I think it's the one. Isn't the one where they come up on the ship that's been missing?
Might have been.
It starts like at the back and then wraps all around it.
It reminded me of that. But honestly, like apart from the fighting and stuff, like I found it a bit slow for me. Like the drama in between just didn't really do much for me. Like, all right, Ben, you're not gonna find your wife. All right, she didn't even go. That was the whole thing. She didn't even come. Like, geez, dude. So thanks for that. Karen, and hoping maybe he finds his wife and she's one of those things, or maybe he just finds his wife, oh, wait, she didn't even come. Fuck you, dude.
That was such a
Fuck you for making me care.
That really just depleted that whole meaning behind that. Like, oh, she didn't even come. Yeah, that's right. I was.
You're right.
I even mentioned her then, Ben.
Right. I even mention her. It's like, just shut up, dude. I love the way that Ben Foster just woke up into this shit. It's like, hey, good morning.
Yeah.
Like, no eggs and bakey. It's your fuck time, because there's some shit going down. The cook was really good. That guy really acted his ass off, I thought. I love those cave drawings, the scrapings into the metal. That was a cool sequence.
Yeah.
But overall, I gave this a 6 out of 10. I didn't hate it, but Frank, I agree with you. If this was a trilogy, I really think this would be my least favorite. But I would like to see more, because there's no way all of those creatures died.
Who knows what's on that island, man?
Right. They could have given you like the end of Deep Rising, when the whole island just comes to life. Just
nice.
That would have been cool.
It really drives me nuts that they may not ever conclude this in any way. Like, it's almost the same frustration I had when they ended Last Man on Earth, the TV show, because I was like, that was one show I was watching every week and like waiting on it and shit, and then they just kind of didn't get renewed, right? And then they
just got canceled.
They ended in a bunker. They were in a
guys.
fucking bunker, and like right at a cliffhanger too. But regardless, sometimes
they all died. They all went back to their home planet.
I kept getting mad at that show because I was like, oh, it's Last Man on Earth, but let's keep having more and more people.
Yeah, there's more and more people showing.
Right?
But how long could you just have the one guy blowing shit
that
up?
Is true. That has to be one compelling dude.
Probably should have called it The Last People on Earth then.
Hey, man.
Or maybe all those people are in his imagination.
Yeah, I thought that could be.
Could have done anything.
That could have been it.
Anyways,
all right.
But good pick, Ray. That's what I want to say. Good
pick, Ray. Yes, of course. That is much better than my movie. Unfortunately.
But we'll get to that. This is why
I always watch shit before I pick it.
No, the bad ones are always more fun to talk about. Like, I have some funny thoughts about that movie.